Rejection. Fear of rejection isn't really about being told no. It's about what rejection used to mean for our ancestors. Exile from the group. And for most of human history, exile meant death. We evolved in tribes where belonging wasn't optional. It was survival. Which is why the brain still treats social rejection with the same alarm system it once reserved for physical danger. Neuroscientists have found that the pain of being excluded activates some of the same brain regions involved in processing physical pain, which is why a breakup or a friend not texting back can feel like an actual ache in your chest. This is why waiting for someone to reply to a text can feel unbearable, or why asking someone out feels riskier than it logically should. Your body isn't overreacting. It's running ancient software in a modern world. And once you understand that, another fear starts to make a lot more sense. The fear of never getting the chance to be rejected at all because you never tried. Failure. Fear of failure, sometimes called aishophobia in its more intense form, isn't really about the failing itself. It's about what failing would say about you. For a lot of people, failure feels less like "I made a mistake" and more like "I am the mistake," which is why so many talented, capable people quietly avoid opportunities that could actually change their lives. Psychologists link this to something called fixed mindset thinking, where ability feels like a fixed trait instead of something built through practice. If your intelligence or talent feels fixed, then failure isn't a data point, it's a verdict. This is why someone might avoid applying for a promotion they're qualified for, or never finish writing the book they've talked about for years. The brain would rather stay safely unproven than risk being proven not good enough. But there's a quieter fear hiding just behind this one. Not the fear of failing in front of others, but the fear of what happens when no one is paying attention to you at all. Being forgotten. Fear of being forgotten is one of the few fears that doesn't scream. It just quietly aches in the background of everyday life. It's the reason people feel a strange emptiness scrolling through old photos, or feel unsettled imagining the world continuing on perfectly fine without them in it. Psychologists tie this to our deep need for what's called symbolic immortality. The idea that we want some part of us, our impact, our memory, our name, to outlast our physical existence. This is different from the fear of death itself. You can accept that life ends and still be terrified of the idea that it will be as if you were never here at all. This is why people build things, raise families, create art, or chase achievement, not always for the reward itself, but for proof that they mattered to someone. And it's also why the quiet moments, the ones with no witnesses, can feel oddly heavy, which raises a different kind of fear entirely. Not being forgotten by others, but losing yourself while you're still here. Losing control. Fear of losing control shows up anywhere the mind senses it isn't fully in charge. Turbulence on a flight, a spinning car on ice, even falling asleep in an unfamiliar place. Psychologically, this fear is less about the specific situation and more about unpredictability itself. Humans are wired to seek a sense of agency because throughout evolution, control meant safety. If you could predict and influence your environment, you could avoid threats before they happened. This is why some people white-knuckle armrests during turbulence, even though flying is statistically one of the safest ways to travel, and why panic attacks often include an overwhelming urge to escape a situation, even when there's nothing physically dangerous happening. The brain isn't reacting to real danger. It's reacting to the absence of certainty. This same fear can quietly show up in relationships too, in the discomfort of depending on someone else's choices instead of your own, which brings us to a fear built entirely around depending on other people in the first place. Abandonment. Fear of abandonment often begins long before adulthood, rooted in early attachment experiences with caregivers. According to attachment theory, the bonds we form as children shape how safe or unsafe closeness feels to us later in life. If comfort and connection were inconsistent early on, the nervous system can learn that people are unreliable, even if that belief was formed decades ago in a completely different context. This is why some people feel intense anxiety when a partner takes a few hours to reply to a message, or why silence in a relationship can feel like a threat rather than simply silence. The brain isn't reacting to the present moment. It's reacting to an old, familiar fear that closeness always eventually disappears. This often shows up as clinginess, jealousy, or the opposite, pushing people away first before they have the chance to leave. Fear of abandonment isn't really about being left. It's about being left again. And right behind it sits a quieter fear, one that isn't about losing people at all, but about never truly knowing where you stand with them. Uncertainty. Fear of uncertainty is often more distressing than fear of a bad outcome itself. Psychologists call this intolerance of uncertainty, the discomfort that comes not from knowing something bad will happen, but from not knowing what will happen at all. The brain treats ambiguity as a kind of threat because an unclear situation could contain danger, and evolution rewarded caution over curiosity when survival was on the line. This is why waiting for medical test results can feel worse than the appointment itself, or why an unanswered question after a job interview creates more anxiety than an outright rejection would. A clear no gives your brain something to process. An unknown keeps it on alert indefinitely. This same fear fuels overthinking, sudden urges to check your phone, or the impulse to control every variable in a plan, all in an attempt to manufacture certainty where none exists. And this constant hunger for certainty leads directly into another very modern fear, one born from watching everyone else's life update in real time. Missing out. Fear of missing out, widely known as FOMO, is a modern name for a very old psychological pattern, the fear of social exclusion. Humans evolved as social creatures, and being left out of the group once carried real survival consequences, so the brain still treats exclusion, even from something as small as a party you weren't invited to, as a genuine threat. Social media didn't invent this fear, but it dramatically amplified it, giving people a live, constant window into everything happening without them. This is why scrolling through a friend's weekend photos can trigger a wave of anxiety that has nothing to do with logic. You know you were busy. You know you made your own choices. But the brain still registers a subtle alarm. Everyone is somewhere, and you are not there. This fear often drives overcommitment, restlessness, and a nagging feeling that life is happening elsewhere. And underneath that constant comparison to everyone else's highlight reel sits one final fear, quieter than all the others. Judgment. Fear of judgment is the fear that sits underneath almost every other fear on this list. The quiet dread of being evaluated and found lacking. Psychologists refer to this as social evaluative threat, and it's considered one of the most consistently powerful triggers of stress in humans, activating the body's fight-or-flight response even in situations with zero physical danger, like giving a presentation or walking into a room where people already know each other. This is why public speaking regularly ranks among people's most reported fears, sometimes ahead of death itself. Your brain isn't afraid of the microphone. It's afraid of what your reputation might become in the eyes of the group, a survival concern that goes back to a time when social standing determined whether you ate, whether you were protected, and whether you belonged. Every blush, every racing heart before speaking up in a meeting, every rehearsed text message is the same ancient alarm going off in a modern setting. In the end, we aren't just afraid of the world. We're afraid of what the world will think of us.